Hello and welcome to day 143 of the Not Alone Today Chronological Bible Reading Plan. Today we are reading 1 Kings chapter 16. We will pick up where we left off, beginning from verse 21 all the way to the end, in verse 34. We are still in the contemporary English version for this week.
1 Kings chapter 16 from verse 21. After Zimri died, some of the Israelites wanted Tibni, son of Ginath, to be king, but others wanted Omri. Omri's followers were stronger than Tibni's, so Tibni was killed, and Omri became king of Israel in the 31st year of Asa's rule in Judah.
Omri ruled Israel for 12 years. The first 6 years he ruled from Tirzah. Then he bought the hill of Samaria from Shemar for 6,000 pieces of silver. He built a town there and named it Samaria after Shemar, who had owned the hill.
Omri did more evil things than any king before him. He acted just like Jeroboam and made the Lord God of Israel angry by causing the Israelites to sin and to worship idols.
Everything else Omri did while he was king, including his brave deeds, is written in the history of the kings of Israel. Omri died and was buried in Samaria, and his son Ahab became king.
Ahab, son of Omri, became king of Israel in the 38th year of Asa's rule in Judah, and he ruled 22 years from Samaria.
Ahab did more things to disobey the Lord than any king before him. He acted just like Jeroboam. Even worse, he married Jezebel, the daughter of King Ethbaal of Sidon, and started worshipping Baal. Ahab built an altar and temple for Baal in Samaria and set up a sacred pole for worshipping the goddess Asherah. Ahab did more to make the Lord God of Israel angry than any king of Israel before him.
While Ahab was king, a man from Bethel named Hiel rebuilt the town of Jericho. But while Hiel was laying the foundation for the town wall, his oldest son Abiram died, and while he was finishing the gates, his youngest son Segub died. This happened just as the Lord had told Joshua to say many years ago. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. So today we read just half a chapter, and in that short passage we saw three tenures. First, Zimri, who ruled in Israel while Asa was still the king in Judah, and then Omri, who also ruled for 12 years while Asa was still the king in Judah. You remember that Asa ruled for 41 years in all. And then we heard of Ahab, son of Omri, who became king in the 38th year of Asa's rule in Judah, so just 3 years before Asa would pass away. The common denominator is that each of them kept outdoing the one before them in terms of how evil they acted before the Lord. So let's take a moment to reflect on what stood out to us, and what stood out to you in these few verses that we've read.
What stood out to me was what happened to the man called Hiel who tried to rebuild the town of Jericho. How that God said the town must not be rebuilt, and if anyone did it, they would die, isn't it?
And Joshua placed a curse on whoever attempts to rebuild it, that they will lay their foundation by their first son and set the closing finishing gates by their last born. And the commentary was added there in this narrative just to show that actually did happen. Someone did try to rebuild it, and yes, the firstborn died when the foundation was laid, and yes, the lastborn died when the finishing gates were being put in place. So yeah, that's what I highlighted as well as what stood out to me. Apart from the fact that, it just occurred to me looking at a snapshot of all of these kings, and many of them we are still going to read their story. We haven't fully gotten into it yet, and of course Ahab, there is more to say about Ahab. This is just the beginning. We're going to be introduced to Prophet Elijah in chapter 17, so looking forward to that. But just how all of the kings in Israel, actually none of them had a good record, and that's quite striking. I remember as a very young Christian how in my mind, I thought, when the kingdom was split into two, that God would do it in a way that at least the majority will still be those who follow him. But actually, all of the kings of Israel were bad. In Judah, we still had some few good kings, or at least maybe they started well and didn't finish quite well. We've seen Asa, we're still going to see the likes of Hezekiah, we're going to see Josiah, and quite a number of other people that did good. They were likened to have followed in the footsteps of David. But in Israel, all of them are just outdoing one another in their wickedness. And yet that's where the vast majority of God's people are, the Israelites. 10 of the tribes are there. But yeah, it's a story that keeps unfolding, and we'll see how the story picks up when we turn the page on day 144. But till then, just remember,
you're not alone
today. God bless you.